The story was, you fucking idiot. How did you get yourself here? It was pretty dark. I was isolating myself and I was just working on the wrong things to try to get out of the hole. I thought, fuck this. I started to call the shots and I lined up all my ducks and I just started to, I think I was going pew, pew, pew. Yeah. And we relocated, and within 2 weeks of exiting that property and entering the next, $30,000 a year less rent, location, everything. And I'm just, a lot of people I've realized probably would have just sat there.
Welcome back to Making Restaurants Profitable. I'm Tim Kammerfeld, and today I'm here with the beautiful Tara, and I've been really excited to have this conversation. We're still here on Hamilton Island. We've just finished our accelerator event for the past 3 days. So if we're looking a little bit beachy, it's because we are beachy.
100%.
We want to be relaxed. So Tara, just for people who don't know you, who are you? Where are you from?
I'm Tara Senham. I am from Terrigal, which is the central coast of New South Wales, about an hour north of Sydney. I am 36 years old and I am the founder of Meraki Group, which is a hospitality group on the Central Coast. Yeah.
Okay. So Tara and I have been in each other's radar for, I reckon, 5 years.
Yeah.
A bit longer. And when we first crossed paths, I think you were only on one business at that time. Maybe
yes,
one going
two.
Into two.
I think it would have been two, yeah.
And then you just kind of went, I'm going to do so many. And you did heaps. And then you're like, let's work together. And then we kind of gone, okay, you're very good at designing and opening venues. And then we've done a bit of backtracking. And this is the reason why I wanted to talk to Tara today, because the thing that I love about Tara is that she's got such a beautiful entrepreneurial mind. She's very good at creating experiences.
Thank you.
And she's also got a story which I'm phenomenally proud of her for, because she wound up this big thing and we kind of looked at it and it wasn't going to work for you. And then we've unwound it. And I see so many people who won't face their fears around when something doesn't work, what you need to do. And then they spend the next 5 years of their life going, I can make it work. 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 And then I've seen you over the last 6 months just aggressively going, no.
Hard decisions.
Yeah. And because of these hard decisions, Tara's like, you took one business from small numbers to very quickly.
Yeah.
I'm going to dive in. So when things aren't working and you're in the thick of it, what was the story you're telling yourself inside your head? Let's start with the story, because the story is something that our mind creates to make our situation better.
Yeah. The story was, you fucking idiot.
Yeah. Start beating yourself up.
Yeah. How did you get yourself here? You know better than this, or maybe you don't. Maybe you didn't know anything at all.
Yeah.
How did you find yourself here in this situation? It was pretty dark.
Yes.
Yep. And at that point as well, it's really hard to be honest as well with the people around you. How you feeling?
Yes.
You tend to isolate. I was isolating myself and I was just working on the wrong things to try to get out of the hole. Yeah.
Okay. So you blaming yourself, calling yourself all sorts of names, and you were working on the wrong thing. And I would imagine you felt pretty shitty.
I felt, very bad.
Yeah, and then that starts affecting your confidence.
Confidence,
Yes.
health,
Start
relationships.
Start second guessing all the decisions you're making. Now, tell me, what was the point where you're like, I can't do this shit anymore. I've got to pull my head in. What was that point?
Well, the point was, I have, out of all the businesses that I had or have,
Yes.
there was some really, really good businesses turning over really well, profiting, and then there was a couple of bad eggs, or what I've been calling them as like the low-hanging fruit.
Yes.
And
which were sucking more of your time than the good businesses. Because what a lot of people don't understand, it takes just as much work, actually more work, for a business doing under 20K a week.
Yes.
Even 20K a week, as what a business that's doing 50, 60, 70, 100K a week. Because it's so much, it's actually more work.
It really is.
Yeah.
And for like far less return.
Negative return.
Yeah. And so, that was happening. And I sort of had to put my big girl pants on. There was a period, I don't know when it was, I had to just say, it's either going to come falling down around me, or I have to make a decision for myself and build the foundations back up.
Was that the Hemo Feb trip?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's when I was feeling really like, who the fuck am I?
Yeah.
My identity was shot.
Yes.
My confidence, I was like stressed. And even now when I think about Hemo, like the emotion that came over through that,
Yeah.
it was like, it was overwhelming. And I walked out of Hemo with, it was the fear of things like bankruptcy.
Yes.
What are people going to think of me? Am I
Yeah.
going
The
to lose
judgment.
everything?
Yep.
The judgment.
The
Am I going to
unknown.
lose
Yep.
everything? How are people going to think about me? Like from the outside, they saw me as this strong business owner.
Yes.
So I had to battle with that identity. And then when I
Yep.
came out of Hamo, I thought, fuck this, because if I don't do something about this, something's going to be done for me.
Yeah. It's going to be worse. You're going to lose control.
Yeah. And so I started to call the shots and I lined up all my ducks and I just started to, I think I was going pew, pew, pew.
Yeah, you were.
And I just could not be any prouder of myself.
Yeah. Well, that's why you're here, because I'm
Yeah.
phenomenally proud of
Thank you.
how much you've done in 6 months, and what you've faced is more. It's more than what I've we're up to like 2,500 owners now we work with across, and I know the moment I meet a person, because every single person that comes into a business, I have coffee with them at some point, and I know within 5 minutes into that coffee whether or not they're going to be a success or failure. I know it, because of just the way they talk and the way they take ownership. And then watching you on Hemo, you just needed like a pump up in confidence. You just need to be reminded of who you actually were or are, and then to watch you go away and just go poo poo.
Yeah. It was also like, I think something that was really important about Hamo was to see that I'm actually not in this alone, and that I'm not the only person who has the same troubles as what I was facing or am facing.
Yeah.
Even the most successful people in our group have had
Yeah.
some kind of experience, and it kind of desensitized, or like it sort of made me go, oh, okay, cool. Some of the debts and some of the things that they were talking about were like far greater than what I'm facing, and I sort of made me feel normal.
Yes.
And there was no judgment. It was just like, you got to do what you got to do. And there was a moment where I was like, Tara, nobody is coming to save you, but somebody will come and take it all away from you if you don't do something about it.
Yes.
So that was just, it was either me going and taking action and
Or just staying there.
or just staying there and letting it, like death by a thousand cuts, you know?
Yeah, very true. Very, very true. So if you're out there listening going, what is she talking about with Hamo? So in Foodie Coaches, we've got, entry level programs, which, if you're in that smaller revenue, it's easy to access, cost effective way to get help and dial in certain sections of your business. And then we've got our Elite Mastermind, which is like a full service, tailored implementation plan for your business to get you where you want. And then once you go through that, then we've got the accelerator. And what we've learned is that if you already know how to run a successful hospitality business, you already know all the bits, you've already got all the knowledge. What's holding you back's inside your head, and the accelerator is the head stuff. And and we do facilitated small groups on like destination places where you enjoy yourself, but you also get phenomenal takeaways, right?
100%.
So when it come down to making the decisions on what to keep and what not to keep, and making those hard decisions, what was the first step? Was it just, I'm looking at the numbers going...
Yeah. The first step was asking for help and seeking advice.
Yep.
And I did that about 2 or 3 times before I got the right path for me.
Yes.
So...
Because it's not a one-size-fits-all approach.
No.
Because what works for some people and the relationships with other people work, but it doesn't work for other people. Yeah. So you shopped around, you found...
Yeah, and also like the experience from different, say, accountants or, mentors, everybody's got different experience in those fields. So, I started with accountant 1, and they had this path of you're just going to have to write it out. There's, this picture of bankruptcy, and, there's not much we can do to save it. You're going to have to sell your shares, and you're going to have to do this. And I was shook. And they were talking about it so blatantly, like it was like the decision had been taken out of my hands. And I was really, really like, in the meeting, I was like, everybody has to stop. I said, stop. This is not for me.
Yeah.
And the way that you're all talking about it is if like this isn't personally affecting me, which afterwards I've realized wasn't the right thinking for me anyway, because didn't need to be a personal
No,
decision.
no, it's a business decision. You got to remove the emotion.
But I wasn't
Yeah,
ready. I wasn't ready at that point. So that was pre-hemo. I broke down in the meeting and I'm like, everybody's talking about this pathway for me, like as if it was already decided and that was
yeah,
all that was there.
yeah.
And I didn't accept it. So probably because of my emotional tie to the
Because you were
businesses.
tying your own significance to the success of your business.
Yes. Yep.
Yep.
And then they were
Understood.
just so happy to say, oh, well, it doesn't matter. You're just going to have to get rid of these and do that and just start all over again,
Yep.
kind of thing. And I was like,
That
that's,
sounds like a typical accountant, really. Let's just talk about the numbers without talking about how you
yeah,
feel.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then I went again. So I went to my accountant, dear friend. We still do stuff together. And there was a bit of a clearer picture again. And then I
Yes.
mentioned some restructuring things. And he's like, yeah, that could work. And,
Yep.
but his experience with the hospitality industry wasn't quite
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
quite
yeah, yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah.
And so then I landed, then shameless plug, with Foodie Coaches Accounting.
The
And
accounting thing, yep.
we did that. And I had the most, it was when it was just like a cloud. I sat there and it was like, this is nothing.
Yeah.
It's like, mate, we've got to, all you got to do is dot, 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 dot. This is what, and I was like, what? And then I called my accountant who I use and he's like, oh yeah, it's a good plan. He's like, yep, he was on board. And then I had I had a very specific path forward, and
Yeah.
it was just taking away that like pressure from the guys from FCA. Was like, mate, this is
It's actually,
nothing. Like,
what we
yeah,
do.
this is what we do. And he goes, Zach, and he could just clearly
is
see,
that Timmy?
yeah,
Yeah.
clearly see my path forward. And I tell you what, that meeting changed everything for me. And I walked out of there like, I've got this. I was on top of the world, and I had a plan, and the plan, I just stuck to it. And it was just, yeah.
Isn't it funny? Isn't it funny that sometimes, and I think this happens more and more as owners, it doesn't matter what business that you're in, we go and we look for a plan, we hear something from someone, and we know in our gut it doesn't feel good. But in our head, we're like, oh, well, he's the expert.
He's the
I've
expert.
got to follow him.
Exactly.
And, I had a really good friend who went through a liquidation, and the person he got advice from actually went to jail, and he ended up in a whole heap of trouble as well. But he's like, I knew at the time it wasn't right, but because I was in so much stress, I just took the advice. So it's really good that you're like, no, it doesn't feel right. And then you kept looking. And thanks for the shameless plug. But when when you actually do this every single day as a living, it's actually really simple.
And specific to the industry though as well.
Yeah.
So I've had many accountants over the 15 years of being in business, and unfortunately I've stayed in situations where my accountant really doesn't do jack shit for me. I'm just a check in every time tax time comes around.
Yep.
And then when they look and they go, oh shit, look at your numbers, what's going on here? It's like, dude, you could have checked in far more regularly before it got, but at the same
It's on
time,
you too.
what I learned from that was that
It's your responsibility.
that's right. No one's
motherfucker.
here to fucking save me.
Yep.
And inspect your numbers
Yes.
and be all over your numbers and take responsibility.
Yep.
And that is something that I have really taken on board, particularly being in the foodie coaches,
Yeah. In that environment.
in the realm and stuff. So yeah.
So once you got a clear plan,
Mm-hmm.
then you stuck to the clear plan and you did the right thing next at the
Yeah.
right time.
It was still really hard, but I had to make some hard decisions.
Yep.
And
Talk to me about hard decisions.
okay, so one of the biggest ones was the most recent relocation.
Oh yeah, yeah. And please
Huge,
tell me
huge.
you can talk as little
Yep.
or as much as you want, because
Yep.
obviously
Yep.
there's a few other things going on in the background here. And if you're sitting here listening to this, I want you to think about how you would feel talking about your business shit on a podcast
Yeah,
that
yeah,
thousands of people want to listen. So just put
Yeah.
yourself into the vulnerability here.
yeah.
You had to make some really tough decisions.
Really, really tough. Off the back of some really silly decisions or
Yeah.
some lessons, we'll call them.
Yes.
Lessons.
Some learning moments. in your- yeah.
Painful learning moments that, thank God, I learned at this point in my career.
Yes.
Because I still vision myself pushing really hard forward. And if I'd learned those lessons 5 years later,
Yes.
then things likely would have come falling down much harder than they haven't even fallen down around me because I've given so much effort into them, but they very much could have. If I'd held on and learnt these lessons later on, it would have been detrimental. So right now, learning them with just a little bit of cleanup
Yep.
is a good feeling. Yeah. But so with yeah, with the most recent decision that I've had to make was, a venue not doing very well in a location, $600,000 fit out 2 years ago.
Oh,
Very long, very, very long lease that is still there.
yeah.
And we had done all the things, the renegotiations on the leases, all of the
You've
all of
done
our
all the right
expense,
things.
all the
Yeah.
things, all the things. And, we kept communicating, it's not working, this is not working with the landlord. And, and they, to some part, they were quite helpful
would've
because
been good, yeah.
they didn't want us to fail. But at the end of the
You were
day,
gonna fail.
yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna fail.
And I was just a sitting duck. And for 2 years, we went from doing some good numbers in the beginning to some very, very poor numbers, like down, I won't mention numbers, but,
No.
and so that was something that was, it was like, well, there was always like like if I made this decision, this was going to happen. If I made that decision, that was going to happen. There's business partnerships, there's
You gotta choose your
leases,
hard, right?
there's
Yeah.
all these sorts of things. And I thought, well, yeah, choose your hard.
Choose your hard.
Yeah. And so we just made the decision that
You're gonna choose your hard.
yep,
Yeah.
we vacated, but not before having
You did all the
a
things.
plan.
Yeah.
And we relocated, and within 2 weeks of exiting that property and entering the next,
Everything
it's
changed.
like, I'm not very good at math, but what's that, 5 times
Five
our
times.
turnover
Yeah.
every week since we've
5
opened.
times your bottom line.
And it was $30,000 a year less rent, location, everything. And I'm just, a lot of people I've realized probably would have just sat there.
And we see it all the time. We see it all the time. They've sat there because you feel like you're hopeless. But what you need to understand is, like, this is your business. You're the driver. You have control.
Yeah.
And if you're sitting there and you're making, like, struggling to make minimum wage and you're doing 60 or 70 hours a week, what you need to understand is you're better off just coming to Hamilton Island, being a water sports person on the beach
100%.
for
Sounds pretty
40
good,
grand
actually.
a year, chatting to the tourists and then drinking cocktails on your time
Absolutely.
off and getting free accommodation,
Absolutely.
then busting 70 hours a
Yeah.
week, 80 hours a week, busting your ass for
Your passion.
your passion.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, cook at home.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong. So, like, the business itself, I believed in.
Yeah.
If I didn't believe in the business, because, I've made other decisions, I've walked out on another business that I totally did not believe in. And
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck? Why did I even take on this business?
And why did you take it on in the first place?
I took it on because I
a good
thought I was a superhero.
You're a superhero. Yeah.
I was helping other people. I felt like I was going to help and rescue somebody else because they were in a pickle.
And I wonder how many other owners
Yeah.
in their career make silly decisions because they're rescuing someone, or it's a good opportunity that
That's,
someone's brought to them.
Yep. So I've done a couple of them.
Yeah, good opportunities.
Yeah.
Let's talk about good opportunities. Someone got a building, got a spot, got
Yep,
a lease.
yep.
Hey, I got this great opportunity.
Yep.
It'd be really great if you opened a restaurant there. That'll help me out.
Yep.
And you come and rescue them.
Yep. And then,
What happens?
yeah, it's, then
work.
I've got to make some more hard
Then
decisions.
you're gonna make hard decisions. And this is, I was chatting to someone the other day. It's like, it's so easy to sign a lease.
Yeah.
It's so exciting to do a fit out. It's so great to open something. But you know what the shit thing is? It's really hard to get fucking out of it.
Yeah, it really is. It really is, especially the longer you leave it.
The longer you
The
leave
longer
it, the
you
harder
leave
it
it.
is.
Yeah.
And you got to understand, Tara's that strategic in opening businesses that she's marrying a builder who focuses on fit outs for restaurants.
Yeah.
So she's like, I'm going to open so many restaurants. I really need someone who's close to
partner.
me. Yeah, I really need a partner. So,
Love you.
this is what you,
Yeah.
that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
hey.
It's about strategic relationships.
Well, they say you've got the right life partner to
Yes.
get, to help you, support you.
Yeah.
And
And let's talk about foundationally about partners and supporting. How integral has that relationship been?
in terms of my partner with my business partners or with
Oh,
my
both business
lover.
partner and life partners. And you know,
I can
let's talk about life partner first.
yeah, how important it is to pick the right life partner is, I'm not going to go into too much detail about past relationships and so on and so forth, but who I am now with the right partner,
Yeah.
I could never have imagined myself stepping into this version of Tara.
Really?
No, he reminds me every single, like, to the point of, like, frustration. Like, can you just
Yeah.
fucking pull your shoulders back? Say yes to these, like, opportunities. Like, he backs me. He's my woo girl. I'm
Yeah,
not
right.
even
Everyone
Like,
needs a woo girl.
he's my woo girl.
Yeah.
He shares everything on his social media. He
Yeah.
tags, everything. Like, I can't. People always say to me, or actually, people message him and say, "Can I make a booking?" And he's like, because that's how much he backs me. He comes across as if he is the owner of Meraki Group.
Yeah, it's so interesting because he's come into this group and like our accelerator group's really tight, and you can just tell he backs you 100% because he's fitted in. It's not about him;
No.
it's about supporting you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Everybody can see it, and everybody
Yeah.
always mentions it, to the point where I'm like, yeah, I get it. Okay, he's cool. We don't need to keep bringing it up.
yeah. No, but even
Anything.
like he came in here and like Kristen and him started getting along. I'm like,
Yeah.
I can relax.
Yeah, because
No.
it can be hard,
Yeah.
but I was really confident that was going to be the case.
Yeah.
Like, he's not here. Yeah, he's not
Mad
here for
dog.
himself. He's here for
Yeah.
and fully believes in what we do. And you know what? He's super grateful for what this group has given me as well.
Yeah.
So he's like, finally, somebody else is telling her that.
It's not just him.
Yeah,
And I think it's a hard thing to look at, but being in the position that certainly I'm in and our business is in, we see so many businesses fail just because great owners aren't supported by their partners because they make a decision to get into a partnership with someone. And I say like a love partnership with someone at a certain time in their life, and then they grow and they change, and
Yeah.
their partner sometimes doesn't grow and change with them, but they hold on to them because of like obviously a standard or a tradition that has been like you have to for better or worse.
yeah.
And but the time is like people aren't growing at the same level sometimes.
No.
And you see amazing people getting held back because of their partner, and they don't want to, and they're so loyal they don't want to make that tough
Yeah.
decision. So that's really great. So out there, if your partner's not supporting you, maybe, and you guys are sitting in the car, this is going to be an awkward moment for you.
Yeah.
But just know that
Hard decisions.
you got one life to live, and that's what Fitzy
Absolutely.
said yesterday. He goes, you know what, you got one life to live.
Absolutely. Actually, I think his tattoo says one life something. I don't even know what it says, but it says one life something. So there you go.
He does have a tattoo that says One Life.
Yeah,
I
there
saw
you
it
go.
yesterday.
There you
Because there's
go.
Simon Beard's group, which is like the One Life Club, and I'm like, man, he's like right.
Yeah, it's a bit awkward if you had more than one life. Yeah, but that's good.
Yeah, second life.
Yeah.
Or second wife.
Yeah.
Fourth wife. Next thing, let's talk about business partnerships because you're in. Obviously, your partners might listen to this, so we won't bag them if you were. But talk about business partnerships because obviously, man, we see it all the time. Like one partner wants to grow, one partner wants to
Yep.
stay still, one partner's going around in circles.
Yep.
You get husband and wife in partnership in business. You get two
Yeah.
mates. Like business partnerships, like a marriage as well, right?
It really is. Yeah.
What have you learnt about that?
Yeah. So again, decisions I've made in partnerships, like my first business partnership, I believe that I learned everything from that partnership
Really?
to begin with.
Yeah. Okay.
So he gave me an opportunity back in 2009,
Yep.
and I was I was quite young, new to the industry
Mm-hmm.
in terms of like leadership. And he stepped me through opening cafes and restaurants, and we did all that together in the beginning.
Yes.
And then in terms of growth, after COVID, he got to a point where he was just like, this
Done.
is fucked. I can't do this anymore. And then I actually bought him out.
Okay.
And that was really scary because at that point I'd done everything with him.
Yeah.
And he was like,
You had to put your big girl pants on.
yeah. And
Yeah.
I waited on bated breath for everything that he said because I believe that he was so knowledgeable and successful, and his courage and all those sorts of things. I think I learnt my grit from him, like through everything that we went through. It was like not giving up and finding solutions, whether it was like finance raising or exiting. It's actually funny that I think about it, so I won't mention his name, but when I exited the venue, I called it his name. I said, I'm doing the, and I called him. I'm like, hey, guess what I'm doing? I'm doing the John Smith this weekend. And he's like, oh, are you? I'm like, yeah, I'm doing the John Smith. I'm getting out of there. Because I learned that he was the one who would be like, I'm not sitting here waiting to,
I'm not doing this
yeah.
shit.
So I owe him a lot from the lessons that I learned then. And then we got to a point where, I was growing from a business and mindset perspective, and he was not ready to go forward any further. So I bought him out of the businesses, and from there I just went that's where I started to grow and take on all these opportunities and stuff, because I had space to make my own decisions and learn my own lessons.
Yep.
So that was my first relationship. There was so much trust, honesty. He had my back, I had his back. And so that was what my knowledge of partnerships was based on.
It was built on, yeah.
And then I didn't do partnerships for a while until an opportunity again came up, but I had 2 or 3 other restaurants at the time.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can't do this on my own. I need to bring somebody in. And then I brought on my best friend and now business partner, and we built a partnership from there. That was successful, still is successful. And then I started to get a bit cocky, I suppose, or a bit confident. And I started to make business partnerships with whoever was sort of willing, and that really that was a painful lesson. I think actually that was two and a bit years ago, and I said, Tim, I need your help. I need your help.
Yeah. I remember I was on the way to the airport when you messaged me.
And you're like, I wouldn't normally do, but let's have this call right now. And I said, I fucking need your help. And you're like, get on a plane. We're going to Tassie.
That's right. It happened real quick.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's when we put you straight up, and then you're like, you got some fucking big gaps.
Yes.
Because you've been through, like, you like, coaching wasn't a first for you. You've done it before.
I've done a lot. I've done a lot. Yeah, I have done a lot. And so at that point, I was still doing another business coaching, and that business coaching was very broad business coaching. So it was about mindset and, you know, opportunities and partnerships and
growth,
scaling and income arms and things like that.
And how did you find the difference between that and, like, more specific hospo, like what we do? Well,
so when at that point I was sitting there in my coaching calls, and I was saying, I'm in the shit. Like, they're like, what's your problems? Cash flow, paying my taxes, doing all these things. And they go,
cash flow problem, you got a profit problem.
And then they go, oh, you've just got to increase your spend per head. And I was like, well, yeah, but what about, like, how, like, you know, all of these things, you know, and how do you even know that is the answer? It was just like, this coach that I was working with, like, you know, obviously had some experience coaching other people in the industry, but it was not specific. And then that's when I was like, I'd learned all this stuff about mind space and growth and confidence and breaking through the limiting beliefs and things like that. But that was no good because I couldn't apply it to the actual practical P&L.
The micro stuff, foundational.
And I think that's when I was making some reckless decisions as well, because it was like, just go out and add income arms to your businesses, create opportunities, because you'll get more money through the door, but it was just causing more and more stress. And so then coming to foodie coaches, the specific knowledge and the resources, there is a resource for absolutely anything. And I just started to implement, you know, my food costs, and I'm really, really proud of this. I went from, like, you know, 32%, which I know, you know, 30% is probably right. Our target is now 20, and we sit between 20 and 22% across all the businesses.
Yeah, and can I just say, when Tara did this, some people go out and they're like, oh, you know, they bastardize their food experience because they kill their food cost. But you haven't done that. Your revenue's gone the other way.
Yeah, and we worked on, obviously, so it was like group pricing and just renegotiating, not stopping as well. Like, so, you know, you set a price. If it starts to go back up, you got it. Like, cheese goes up every fucking month.
Yeah.
It was just constant. And I, like, you know, implemented all these budgets and kept them set KPIs and whatnot. And And then the staff, again, resistant, like, oh, 20%, that's impossible, da-da-da. No, it's not. We're doing 18% at some of the venues some months.
Yeah.
And so now it's like the better it gets, the tighter. But it's got nothing to do, it's waste, it's portion control, it's menu design, negotiation, and it's just not stopping. And the reason I focus so heavily on it is there are so many areas in the business that you can't really negotiate. You can't negotiate wages. Obviously, you can control how much your roster and stuff, but you can't reduce the hourly rate.
Someone's arm and then say, I'm just going to pay you less.
Yeah, that's right. We won't pay you super this month or whatever. And then insurances and all those things, they were going up and up and up. And yes, you can renegotiate, but there's only so much that you can do. But we had control. We had full control over our food costs.
Yeah.
We still do. And so I just appointed, executive chef. I'm like, this is your mission, along with the rest of the head chefs within the group. We all had to work together, obviously, but we had to get the buy-in. And that's just, I put it, our success and how I've been able to come out of the trouble at that point was focusing really heavy on that 10% that I've saved. And thank you to Foodie Coaches, because the tools were there.
Yeah.
And just, the reverse engineering of the P&Ls and focus and the audits and the time and all those things are just been, they've saved. Yeah.
And that's, someone was talking the other day, because obviously, and I'm really forward in saying that, I've never owned a restaurant. I've never worked front of house. I've never worked back of house. I was a pizza delivery driver who was like, fuck this, I'm going to become an accountant. But I think
chalk and cheese.
Yeah, no, it's chalk and cheese. But this is why, like the Foodie Coaches, but that's our superpower, because we've never done that. So we just look at the foundations and the structure and the business.
Yeah.
And it's
the
not
shit that we don't look at as creatives.
Yeah, that's right, as the creatives. And, we, unlike other coaches who have gone and done it in the industry, we're not going, hey, we're the expert, do what we've done. It's like, hang on, no. We're the masters, because we've grabbed the strategy from the regional and the city and the fine dining and
cafes,
the pizzerias and the cafes and the pubs and the bar from Ireland that we have on, or the Fijian beach fucking bar, or so all of that comes together, and then it creates this resource library, but also community where you can grab things and go, I need that now, I don't need that, I don't need that.
100%.
And you don't need to be told how to cook or how to serve, or that's the creative thing. That's the art.
Yeah. But it's good to have the reminder as well, which is what you guys bring us back to, because we can sometimes then get so focused on something like the numbers and fixing that bottom line that we then forget about experience.
You forget about the art.
Yeah. Even just like the cobwebs in the corner and shit. Like you can forget about all those.
Bulb that's out in the ceiling.
Yeah, you forget to look at those things because you end up focusing really heavily. Yep. But that's the beautiful thing about the calls. It sort of pulls you back into whether it's marketing or, so I couldn't speak any more highly of the program.
And it was interesting. I was listening to you give advice the other night to a couple of people out there when we were talking about what they need to do to probably make some changes inside their business. And it's rare to hear someone speak so passionately, so direct, and you just fucking rattled off ideas around experience. So can you talk to me about how you design and implement that customer experience inside your business? Because you got a couple of really core values, and listening to you there, I was like kind of a little bit like a proud dad. Your partner's on the Barbie and you're just like fucking coaching.
Well, it's really funny. I coached myself that night because I left that. I've got a very similar restaurant to them in terms of the cuisine. Yeah. And that night I went back. We have the big giant paella. Yeah. Sits in storage, and I messaged the chef and I was like, dude, that fucking paella pan's coming out. You're standing in the middle of the dining room and you're going to do this experience. You're going to make your experience. Yeah. And I thought it is so important when you're in that environment. Like, why have I just given them that advice? Yeah. I needed that advice. Yeah. Yeah. So that's
why groups are always good, because you can have a coach go, do this, do that. But giving back, you actually learn more, or you achieve more by giving back to people. Yeah.
So for me, the customer experience, I've always said my hobbies is eating and drinking. Yes. And on the Central Coast growing up, there's no amazing hub of restaurants, or there's great operators, but it's like, you got one restaurant, and the Central, it's so vast, the Central Coast, everything's 30 minutes from each other. Mm-hmm. So going out, it was Italian, Asian, there wasn't a lot of opportunity to have that customer experience. Yeah. And so Meraki stands for to do something with a part of your heart or soul. So you put a part of yourself into what you do, and that can be in any way whatsoever. So when we do our teaching, we talk about, how do we put it into our food? How do we put it into our drink? How do we put it into our...
What do you mean when you do your teaching?
With my staff, my team. So when we do like Meraki Impact Days, and they're 3 or 4 hour like afternoon, evening, morning, where I pick a topic that is not about how to serve a customer or how to make food or coffee or anything. It is about really peeling back why we're in this industry, why we chose this industry, because there's a reason. Because there's other, like we all know, there's other jobs that you could be picking that are far easier or nicer to be in. We talk about the one percenters. We talk about Meraki experiences, and the teachings will be like about building our values or setting our standards, our non-negotiables. And yeah, they're really, really powerful. We do, which I try to do 2 a year.
And would you take every single employee out, or just the
I
leaders?
invite, so there's different levels. You do usually invite everybody.
Okay.
Whether I get everybody there is another story. Yes, paid. Okay. And then we'll put on dinner or lunch or something as well. Yeah. So it's like whiteboard.
And you teach?
And I teach, yes. Yeah. Right. You know, we always have like a handout. There's some self-work as well in there, we try to work on things that can also be translated into their personal life too. So standards, our Meraki standards. Yeah. And then we talk like that too. So is this a Meraki standard? Is this? And that's how you build. And that's how we build the culture. Yeah. Yeah.
Because you see it so often, and obviously I've done a lot of energy work myself, and when I'm on point, people feel it. Like I'm walking into a room and people can feel my presence.
100%.
But the other thing is that when I'm on point, I can actually feel the energy of who's made the food or what's coming out. And if you go into a business that's struggling, you can always tell it's struggling by 1, the vibration, how it feels, but 2, how you feel after you eat the food. It's this self-fulfilling prophecy that when you see an owner in there and they're struggling, like they're working their ass off and the food's coming out and there's stress or frustration in the kitchen, it comes out in the food.
Yep.
And then you feel a certain way and then subconsciously you just don't go back. And then it just gets worse and worse and worse and worse and worse.
Yep.
So
energy breeds energy. I always say it.
Energy.
Yep.
And because that vibration's this lower vibration in like frustration and to a point anger,
yes,
then it gets worse and it gets worse. And there's a point where you can't turn it around and rescue it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, so we dig into like one percenters and how we can put the Meraki into different things we do, whether it's showing somebody where the toilet is. There's a difference between going, oh yeah, it's just over here, or you could take a couple of steps and be like, yeah, sure, let me show you, and gesturing, like actually taking them a few extra steps.
Small things.
It's the umbrella to the car.
Yeah.
And so often people will private message me and say, every time I go, it doesn't matter what venue I go to, your team are just phenomenal. They always go that extra step,
I remember, one of your managers, I was flat out understanding him, to be honest with you, but I'm super Aussie. When I spoke to him, he didn't know who I was, but he went above and beyond to help facilitate what I was trying to facilitate this one time.
I would imagine that was my general manager, Alessio. He's great. He's great.
What nationality is he?
He's Italian. And because he does, and a ponytail,
definitely him.
And then because he does a lot of our, like I say, like where our business is being taken over by Italians, because he knows all the Italians, and they're all in hospitality, and they all work at Meraki Group.
But they're all passionate, right?
Yeah, they are.
They're all passionate.
They really are.
Yeah, and you could just feel there's just so much love and passion.
Yeah, it's great. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Isn't that interesting? So you do these half days and you get your team out. If someone's in a point where they're like, man, vibration's like rubbish, they're struggling, they have to make some tough decisions. What's the first couple of things that, if you're giving them personal advice, what would it be?
Okay. Well, I'm going to coach myself here because at the time when you're in it, it's really, really hard to pull yourself out of it.
Because it's like you can do all the actual tangible things, but it's what's going on inside your head.
Yeah.
Can you talk to that?
Yeah, I think, and I've learnt this over the last couple of days at Hamo, space. You need to first, you're not going to improve anything while you're in it, while you're in the thick of it.
Go and take 2 days off.
Yeah.
And go sit
on the beach.
Sit on the beach. If you can't sit on the beach and you can't go anywhere, or you feel guilty because you're already losing money, and then you're going to go away and do stuff, like go sit in your cupboard.
Yeah, I was going to say with or without pants.
With or without pants.
That's nobody's going to understand that one though. So, but yeah, so the first would be to give
Take the
yourself some
space. Yeah.
space. Give some space.
Let the business burn down around it.
Absolutely, because
Yep.
it's going to burn
You're going
down
to
while
lose
you're in
money.
it
It's
anyway.
going to burn down
That's
anyways.
right.
Yep.
Yeah, space. Talk to some. If you've got a network of people, a community of people, I think reaching out to them is really important. Another
Yeah.
thing that we've learnt that we don't reach out to each other enough.
Oh
And if
man,
we
that was probably the biggest lesson.
biggest takeaway,
You don't have to go through this shit alone.
No.
Stop doing it. You're not a fucking hero.
And they're like, no matter how much experience you think you've got, there is always a lesson out there or somebody who can help you beyond how you can help yourself. Like you don't know everything, even if you think you might. Or I think there's that stigma around asking for help that people are going to think that you don't know what you're doing.
Yep.
But I think it's pretty admirable when you do ask for help. And that's something that I've really learned. I ask so many questions.
Yeah.
Anytime I'm out with anybody or I go and meet another business owner, I ask questions. How do you do this? How do you do that? What are your numbers at? You know, I'm always asking questions.
Talk less, ask more.
Yeah.
Because fucking one thing that pisses me off about so many owners is that because they've got so much to hide, they feel like they have to talk.
Yeah.
Just shut the fuck up.
Yeah,
Ask
they've got
a
a point to prove.
Yeah. Just ask the question and shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
No one wants to hear about your family.
Yeah.
No one wants to hear about your great business. Just if you got an opportunity to ask, be around someone smarter than you, just shut up and listen.
Yeah. Well, that was what we said the other night. It was like, you know how much experience and knowledge is in this group.
Oh,
and why don't we put our hand up or make a call and ask a question that could have been solved 6 months ago or helped you through a situation? We just don't. I think it's just human nature as well, not to ask for help, but just got to break through that.
Well, when you think about like the revenue in that group each week and the amount of employees that's there, and that's just one small group in that whole community, you know. And then what about for the people who are already doing 10-15% profit? They're pretty happy at the moment, and they're kind of sitting here going, "What next?" You know, like, because I feel like you've been at that point. And that's where people get themselves in trouble.
Yeah.
Because you've got something that's doing pretty well, and then you get bored. And I like to call it the fuck up and fix it loop.
Yep.
Where you just fuck it up so you can fix it.
Yep.
And then when it's going great, you'll just fuck it up and then you'll fix it. Because subconsciously it makes you feel good and gives you some, what's the word? Some significance.
Dopamine, the whole lot. Yep.
Yeah. So someone who's potentially in that fuck up and fix it loop,
either go and get a fucking hobby that
go
doesn't cost you money.
Go and get a hobby that
play
doesn't
golf.
cost you money. Yeah.
No, or just clarity. Like you really, really need to understand what is next for you before you just make a silly decision.
And we see it. People do really well and they're like, oh, well, the traditional thing is let's go and open another venue, another business. And they do it, but they do it out of almost like they do it with blinders on, thinking it's going to be just as easy and the same as the current business, and they choose the wrong location, the wrong spot. They don't put as much effort into love into the second one as what they did the first one because they don't have so much on the line.
Yep, and nothing's copy and paste.
No.
Like even if you've got the same brand, it is not copy and paste.
No.
So like things like spend per head, that's a recent lesson that I've learnt with one venue that I'm in the thick of at the moment, is the business that is the businesses that are doing really well at the moment, their location are like it's waterfront, right? $110 spend per head, and then rents are higher, staffing's higher, all that sort of thing. But this other business is teeny tiny, it's in a little community, it's really low rent. The spend per head's $55, and
you got twice as much work to do to make the same revenue.
Yeah. And the average seat time, they're in and out in 42 minutes.
Yeah.
Can't get them to spend any more money because it's the wrong. It needs
spot,
high foot track, all these things, and I'm like, why? I know all this.
Yeah.
I know all of this. Why did I make that decision? Because I just thought I can make it work. Because look, I've made these other things work.
Yeah.
But it's not copy and paste.
No.
And there's no matter how hard I try, that cuisine is not $110 spend per head cuisine.
No.
And the location is not $110 demographic, and the foot traffic, everything. No matter how, even if it was cheap rent, it's still not going to be worth my time. So
yeah, and I really love that. It's like go get a hobby that's not going to cost you money. Like don't buy a boat.
Yes.
Don't buy a boat. If you go and buy a boat,
sounds like you've got a bit of
you're an idiot.
Bit of trauma around that.
I fucking do. I have trauma around a boat. I tell you, it's actually probably cheaper to go buy a shitty restaurant and work in there every day in your life. Actually, no,
No,
it's
don't
not.
do
No,
that.
there's
Bad
nothing worse than
advice.
that.
Bad advice. Go take up crocheting or painting or some
Yeah, or
shit.
you know what? Be present with your fucking
Go on a
kids.
holiday.
Go and coach their soccer
Go
team.
on holiday.
Go and drink tequila on a beach.
Yes,
Be way
that's a
more
good
fun.
idea.
Yeah. Tara, so I've got one final question before we wrap up. If you're new to the industry and you're like, I want to get into this, I want to open a bar, cafe, restaurant, and you're not getting married to someone who fits, like you haven't got your skill set of marrying people that can do fit outs, what would your advice be to them?
It would be to pick as much or as many brains as possible who have done the fuck ups and
Yeah.
fix its, who are in operating successful businesses.
Yes.
Find a network of people.
Yes.
Visit as many or do as many online free coursing, paid coursing, whatever it is,
Yes.
before you sign that lease.
Yeah.
Because I think,
Once you sign that lease, you're fucked.
oh yeah,
You're
yeah,
in.
you're
You're
in.
locked in.
Yep. Because
Yep.
even, just even down to liquor licensing, company structures, where are you holding your shares,
Yeah.
permits, days, all that stuff. You can sign that lease and then go, oh shit, this place doesn't have a fucking grease trap.
No.
There's a $20,000 mistake.
Yeah. Straight
Yeah.
away.
And just not even realizing how you're needing an exhaust hood and it needs to be this big and how much that's going to cost you and all those sorts of things. Like, learn from people who have been there, made the mistakes,
Yes.
and are successfully operating right now.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. All right. Thank you. Thank
You're
you for taking
welcome.
the time.
Thank you. Thank you.